Have a breaking update to that story that we brought you at the top of the newscast. A sad update to report. Two teenagers have died after being shot in South Fulton. Atlanta News First anchor Sydney Stallworth joining us again from the scene. Sydney, what else have you learned about this?
Well, Carly, within minutes, we have learned that those two victims in the shooting, both teenagers, are now dead. They were taken from this area to local hospitals. One of them was in critical condition. Both have passed away here. I want to show you the scene that remains tonight, still very active as South Fulton police try to piece together what happened leading up to the shooting. Crime tape still up in this area at Fortune Point and East Stubbs Road. Now, you can't see it from here, but there was a white sedan just behind that officer's car, and the crime tape extends into this neighborhood subdivision type area where there are even more police lights flashing tonight as police gather evidence at this time. Now, active search is going on right now for a suspect. According to officers, we don't have any information on any potential suspects, but a very heartbreaking update to give tonight. Just moments ago from when we last spoke with you, we have learned that those two teenage victims have passed away, both shooting victims in this case. We'll still work to learn more information and check in with you shortly. That's the latest from here in South Fulton. I'm Sydney Stallworth, Atlanta News First.
Bad news to have to report. Sydney, thank you.